Yay, let's take 10 when I just can't be bothered. Hello, I am the British Bookworm. I'm reviewing the book to my right. It's going to get a 3 out of 5. It's one more nail in the coffin in regards to the lies behind the climate cult. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, not because it's not a good book, it's a really good book, and Susan is an amazing woman. She's an amazing person with a PhD in zoology. What happened was is she landed at the right time at the right place when the people involved in a nature series on Netflix and connected with the BBC and the production company basically lied in a very large way in regards to walruses, where they tried to make Walrus the next victim of climate change to further make people feel emotionally driven to take action towards saving the earth from the cancer of human beings, that cancer of humanity, and the energy that human beings need to live and to thrive and to be happy and to be joyful and to be wealthy and to be economically viable. So the book is without doubt the evidence that puts a nail in the coffin on the Netflix series, Our Planet, I think it was, and it goes to great lengths. It goes into great lengths. It's about a 10-hour read, so it's quite a chunky book. It took me 10 hours, even though it's quite a short read. It's quite a short book, sorry, rather than a short read. But it's taken me about 10 hours, I think, and it's just another nail in the coffin in the climate alarmism. The evidence is there. There's absolutely no question what she's saying is true. And people have tried to debunk to some extent what she said, but it's not debunkable because what she says is the truth and it's just absolutely factual based on what she proves in this book. They tried to make out the walrus was going to get extinct because of the lack of ice in the North Pole and the sea ice, etc. But literally every fable was proven to be a lie. It was proven that the walrus have been doing what they've been doing for hundreds of years, and that the evidence to their nature, the way they behave in their natural habitat, it's been recorded for hundreds of years, and people who are experts in that field, they know that walruses go onto the shorelines and they basically use shorelines with no ice on because they like it, not because there's no ice that they can't use or that is not accessible. And then it goes into the cliff scene that they used on Our Planet and how they made out that these walruses were falling off this 80-foot cliff to try and get into the water because of the situation with ice and the connected to climate change. But they omitted a key fact in the documentary, which was that polar bears were chasing them off the cliff edge. They missed that out because they wanted to use this scene, which had been in the making for 2 or 3 years, to put in already pre-planned, to put this dramatic and terribly upsetting scene where the crew videoed around 12 walruses falling to their deaths. But what they didn't tell you is that they'd already been there for 3 or 4 days, and they'd videoed and seen hundreds of walrus fall off this cliff trying to get away from polar bears that were just part of nature and the brutality of nature. So they tried to shape this scene in this series of Our Planet. I think I said it earlier, what I think it will call. For better information, I would strongly advise you to go to follow Susan on her YouTube videos that she's been done and been interviewed on. But it's just another nail in the coffin in regards to climate alarmism. I did want to do much more of a thorough breakdown on this, but I just do not have time to do long videos like that I was trying to do and done previously, so I'm going to keep this video quite short. Um, it's really disappointing how so many people within the climate alarmist movement blatantly lie. They blatantly have an agenda. They say things that are just wrong. David Attenborough, not Richard, his brother. David Attenborough, knighthood. He's a multi-millionaire in the United Kingdom, extremely well-liked individual. She proves in this book that he clearly knew he was lying, that he wanted to create a legacy with his late appearance onto the climate change movement, and the book proves beyond the shadow of a doubt that he is a lying man, a lying individual, and that he's used his ability to create trust after decades of being involved in documentaries and creating huge trust within, those people that watch him and listen to his narration over the documentaries that he's done. And it's just a nail in the coffin on the whole thing, I'm afraid. I don't like people like David Attenborough who are institutionalized and hide behind their institutional positions in society. And the way that they went about this, even though I'm not going into detail, which I'm sorry if you're wanting more information, as I say, just follow Suzanne and look her up on YouTube and you'll find about it. But it's absolutely, I'm at a point now where, not just for climate change, but on many things, I'm just literally at a point where I'm lost for words when I'm talking about these things. We're in a time where people just don't care about the being dishonest, being truthful about things, and lying. And these people purposefully sort out walruses that fall off cliffs to put in a scene at the end of one of the episodes on the Our Planet documentary to create shock and upset people, traumatize people, to try to drive home the need to reduce fossil fuels, as if reducing fossil fuels is going to change the melting ice or the rising global temperature, which is another, not relevant to the book, so I'm not going to go down that path. But the way that the whole movement is bottom feeding, for a good ironic twist of describing it. Everyone's bottom feeding off this climate change alarmism. The people that are talked about in this book are not good people, although you could argue they think that they're good people, but they know that they're lying. They've lied about polar bears and the risk of polar bears, which is loosely mentioned in this book, but Susan is also considered one of the foremost experts on polar bears. She's a zoologist, if I haven't said this in this book, and she'd studied the topic of walrus for quite a long time and was an expert in that area to debunk our planet. And it's not just that, it's the way she's investigated it and shown how they went about putting these scenes together for the World Wildlife Fund, and how she talks about how the World Wildlife Fund is just literally a money-raising organisation that's really just mainly set up and uses animals to make people rich, essentially. And it's not so much about protecting wildlife, but using wildlife to make money. And I remember another time hearing that charities are one of the richest businesses in the world, if not one of the top three, I think. And they use traumatic scenes to get you to feel emotionally driven to send your money to the charity organisations. So to wrap it up, it's another nail in the coffin, as I've already said. The more I read about climate alarmism, the more disgusted I am, the more I see on X and people like Roger Mallon promoting these absolutely insane opinions about the planet, the earth, and like we're literally on the precipices of doom. I'm actually lost for words now. I'm lost for words. I don't believe the words I can find do justice to the criminal enterprise that is behind the deceit that is climatism, climate alarmism, net zero, and the likes of David Attenborough jumping on the bandwagon late in his life. This thing, and I made a note on this, so we're going to make loads of notes for trying to get the point of this video across to you watching this. This climate alarmism has been going on for over 30 years now. We've produced as much CO2 into the atmosphere in the last 30 years than I think, you know, the whole of history in the last 170 years or something like that. The observational data does not show what the mainstream media are saying, what scientists or activists who are paid by the governments and the United Nations. There's a lot of really evil work going on within this, and it's really disturbing. I just cannot wait for the pieces to fit in where people start waking up to the lies that are going on now actively. You know, that we're being taxed out of our backsides all over the world. You know, human beings breathe 2 pounds of CO2 out every single year. When I've heard in the past people talk about this, saying eventually they're going to be taxing us to breathe, I'm afraid to say that that's actually not as far-fetched as it used to sound. We are literally getting to that point where we're going to be taxed for just breathing, to breathe out CO2. We're going to be getting taxed just to breathe and live. With some of these retarded zealots like Roger Mallam, or people who were, you know, in Extinction Rebellion and work on the extreme side of it. It's definitely connected to Marxism and socialism. There is absolutely no question about it in my mind that this is a political move towards one world government. And the book doesn't go too much into that, so I'm not going to pursue this much further. But looking at what the things I'm picking up, it's definitely a conspiracy of epic proportions. And the zealot confidence that people have who believe in it, and the way they would refer to people like me, or even people with massive education in sciences that are relevant to the topic, they just laugh us off or laugh people off with the opposite view. To me, that is when that happens in the world or in society, small or large scale, that's when free-thinking people must actually start to question the veracity of the claims being made. I have yet to see any solid evidence at all that there's an looming disaster. And when you see how much people have gone to drive a message purely for propaganda, and it is a beautiful book in showing the lengths that these people go to at creating a propaganda campaign to affect the ordinary person like me and you into believing a narrative of a global doomsday that is climate change. And it's really, really, really evil. It's really evil. And these people that are pushing this agenda, who think that they're trying to save humanity and the planet, are actually very, very foolish people who are really evil, or doing something that's really evil and has the potential to actually kill a lot of people with energy deprivation and financial poverty that's going to actually hurt people and potentially kill a lot of people going forward into the future. It sounds all very dramatic, but I swear to you what I'm saying is true, and it's not dramatic. So that's the end of this video. If you give me a like, I would really appreciate it, and subscribe to my channel. Didn't go into too much detail about this book, just purely because I just don't have the time, as I've already stated on this video. I just don't have the time after coming home from work. I've tried a couple of times to do this video now, and I'm hoping this is going to be a reasonable video just to put on. So thanks for watching, and I will hopefully get the last few books back on here to review them and to give you my thoughts. But on a positive, finish off a positive. To all you free thinkers out there, I honest to God salute you, and knowing that people are out there who think for themselves really keeps me going, because when I look at the world, it's sometimes very, very alarming at how many human beings out there don't actually think. So thank you for your time, and take care.